What's up, guys? It's Spencer from the Fantasy Files, and today on the channel... No, we're not doing these long intros anymore. We're getting straight to the point. So, I just finished The Vagrant by Peter Newman, and to be honest, I'm not sure what subgenre I'd put this in, because it's very much grimdark, it's very much apocalyptic, science fiction, and fantasy, so I'll let you decide what to call that. It's essentially The Mandelorian meets The Road by Cormac McCarthy meets the Fallout games, and if that wasn't enough things stirring in the stew, then throw in a dash of Lovecraftian tentacle monsters to get the spice just right.
So good.
It follows a man known as the Vagrant as he travels through the wasteland in a post-apocalyptic world, and he transports his little treasure to a city in the north for initially unknown reasons. What is this treasure, you ask? I guess I could tell you.
The suspense is killing me.
It's a baby! This is one of the rare babies that does not have the affliction most of the rest of the population has, which is the infection that came about during the, for lack of better term, apocalypse. Most of these people are infected in various ways, including, you guessed it, growing tentacles. Throughout the book, he has to make his way across long stretches of wasteland and various cities and forts, and meets with various characters, most of which want to steal, buy, or presumably eat the baby that he's carrying. And this is where I get The Road vibes. In that book, it's a man and his son just walking in a more or less straight line to the coast across a barren wasteland, and I really liked how this book did that. There were a few story details I didn't quite understand, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I really loved this simple premise of just walking forward towards your goal and trying to survive along the way. The wasteland itself is really cool. There's tons of old technology that has kind of been left behind by the previous tenants, and you'll see these salvage shops who take it and make something new, and even characters with this ancient tech who basically have holo maps and all sorts of stuff, which go really well paired with the majority of the wasteland that has kind of been thrown back into the Dark Ages. Now that we've talked at length about the world, let's look at the Vagrant himself, our main character. One of the things I found really interesting about this character and the storytelling is he actually doesn't talk at all. He's completely mute, so the story makes you, as the reader, judge what kind of person he is based on his actions rather than his dialogue, charm, humor, or inner thoughts. We don't even get much of a physical description besides what he's wearing. And I think that was such a cool storytelling device. I've literally never seen anything else like it. It really boils down to some of his decisions you'll agree with and some you won't, and most of the time you won't initially know why he's doing it, you just have to let it play out. Although by the end of the book you probably have a very good idea of what kind of person he is and if you like him or not. I think this was a fantastic storytelling device and kept me, as the reader, more actively engaged than I typically am with your average fantasy adventure page to page. I was constantly going back and forth on what I thought of the protagonist, and it was well into the book before I had come to kind of a final conclusion. So he meets a couple friends along the way, but I don't want to spoil who they are because initially they are not so friendly, and you would not imagine that they would become part of his little crew, but they turn into really fantastic characters that I enjoyed quite a lot. He also travels with a really stubborn goat that he uses as kind of a pack animal and also to feed the baby. And the goat just brought so much levity when the book really needed it. There would be some really grim situations, and the goat would just do the worst things at the worst time. Right when they need to run and move, the goat's like, nope, I want to stay here. Now, I don't think I really have any complaints about this book, other than the flashbacks are often pretty hard to understand, especially at first, or at least they were for me. So I think I may have missed out on a lot of like what the infection is. There's this thing referred to as the usurper, and I'm still not quite sure what that is, along with the seven, which I believe are some type of gods, but I'm again not totally sure. So if anybody's read this and you know what those things are, as long as it's not like a spoiler for future books or something, let me know. Overall, this was a fantastic read. I really enjoyed my time with it. It's not an easy read. I often had to go back and reread a chapter or two, but I was rewarded every time I did. I ended up appreciating that chapter so much more after just going back and giving it another shot. I absolutely loved this world. It was the perfect way to make something that we've seen time and time again, completely fresh and new. He did this by really making the world itself subtle and exactly what it's supposed to be, a backdrop, and he kind of understated the world a bit. We didn't get tons and tons of world building, which really focused the narrative super tight on the Vagrant and the baby, and I think that worked incredibly well in its favor. I'll definitely go on to read the next one, although I am kind of bummed that it appears the Vagrant himself does not have a starring role in the sequels, which is what I loved most about this book. So I'll have to see if I enjoy the next protagonist before making a final decision on that. But go check it out. The audiobook narration by Jot Davies was excellent, and you can tell that he put a lot of heart into his performance of these characters. All right, that's all for now. Thanks for checking out my review of The Vagrant by Peter Newman. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments if you're planning on reading this book after seeing this review, and definitely get back to us when you do read it and tell me what you thought. You can get in touch with us on Twitter and Discord, which are both linked in the description below. And yeah, that's it. All right, have a good one.